Hey, Blender Bob here. I have a confession to make. I don't know everything there is to know about Blender. I don't, still learning. And sometimes I show you some stuff, and some people write in the comments, maybe you should try this instead. And this is what happened this week. Somebody gave me a trick that my mind just went pooh. So of course I had to show it to you. So it was supposed to be a 5-part series, now it's a 6-part series, because I'm sure you will see it really worth it. Dum 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 dum. Your mission, Blender Bob, should you decide to accept it, is to clean up all that mess within 2 minutes. As always, should you or any of the MI Force be caught or killed, the secretary will disavow any knowledge of your actions. This clip will self-destroy if you close the browser tab. Okay, so let's see if this mission is actually possible. So let's pick a part. Let's take this one here and we're gonna isolate it and go into edit mode. And from there we're gonna go into mesh, go to cleanup and limited dissolve. And look at this, we did this in one step. What we did was the same thing as doing a triangular to quads and then cleaning all the flat surfaces. Now you need to adjust the max angle to get all the details that you lost, but it doesn't really work well. Well, we're gonna go to plan B, and what is plan B is to use a modifier instead and use the decimate with the planar option. And now we get the same result, but if we play with the angle here, now it's really fast and very smooth and I can get all the details back the way I needed them. Okay, so now let's try to add a bevel modifier. Now when you do this and you don't see anything, it's because there's something wrong with your geometry somewhere. So it's not perfect. So even if you change the amount, nothing is going on. So how do you fix this? Well, you're gonna go into the geometry right here and you're gonna turn off the clamp overlap. That pretty much means do it anyway, even if there's something wrong with the geometry. Now you can check it out and you can see, well, here, this is the problem right here in the corner. So I could either fix the geometry or just remove the bevel a little bit until it works. Now it looks good. All right, let's keep going. Now, one thing you don't want to do is to add a subdivision modifier, because we have so many end guns, it's just going to create a big mess. Yeah, not a good idea. So what can we do in this situation? Well, there are two things we can do. Maybe we're happy with the geometry the way it is right now. Maybe from the distance we are, it's just fine and, you know, it looks good. Maybe we could just fix the circular surface here and it would be okay. So yeah, let's give it a shot. In order to do that, because we're going to modify the original geometry, we need to apply the decimate modifier. So make sure everything is good before you do this. It's actually quite simple. We're going to insert edges everywhere we need more definition, just like this. And we're going to use the set flow here to make a nice curve. You see how it made the curve perfect? So this comes from the edge flow add-on. It comes with Blender. Nice. You may want to do the same thing for the big circle. Well, do it as needed. The geometry is not perfect though. We still have some issues like these long polygons here. We want to avoid that. This is really bad. So let's do a little bit of cleanup. Before we bring this into Substance, I'm going to do some automatic UVs on it. In production, I would never do this. I would always do my UVs manually to make sure that they are perfect. So the import worked perfectly in Substance because it supports end guns. Other 3D painting software don't support end guns like Mary, so you would have to make a version that's triangulated, unfortunately, to be able to paint it. But triangulating a geometry will not modify anything on the UVs. So now I'm baking the textures, which is the first step you should always do when you're in Substance. And now let's try to see if it works well. So we're going to use a smart material. Let's take one here, I don't know, like this one here. I'm just going to drag it on top. Let's see, and it looks perfect. It worked great. Good, so now we know that we get a perfectly usable geometry. Let's go back to our original mission, which is to clean up everything. I'm going to select these parts, copy the modifiers from the original, and bang, it's done. This is in real time. I didn't make it faster. I didn't accelerate the clip. So let's keep going. Let's push the envelope. So I'm going to select all these parts here. Even if they're already done, I don't care. So let's try again. Copy modifiers. How long is it going to take? And it's done. We cleaned up all this crap. Okay, so maybe you will need to do some little adjustment manually, but look at this. It's quite amazing. Now these parts on top are much more complicated. It's probably going to take longer. I'm not going to do the one on top because it's one I already did myself and I know it's clean. So let's select the original one and let's give it a shot.
copy all modifiers.
Firuda.
11 seconds. It took 11 seconds to clean them all. Mind-blowing. It did a pretty amazing job. Now remember, these parts you can only use them as is. You cannot twist them, bend them, destroy them. Otherwise you will have to go through the entire process of cleaning up all the geometry, make it in quads and everything. You can take a look at my clip 1B at 3:15 to get a good example of what I'm talking about.
Now, I'm sure you will agree with me that this was pretty amazing. But you have to understand that the techniques I've shown you in the previous weeks, they're not a waste of time because this is a modifier, so it will apply to the entire geometry. Sometimes you may want to fix just a little part of it, and all the smoothings and everything that I've shown you is still very good. Okay, so for next week, you want to turn on the notifications because you don't want to miss this one. It's going to be a long one. It's the making of a commercial we just finished, and here's a little bit of it just to tease you.